It's Friday. Did you know your bass player's face down in a gutter somewhere? Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Friday. Hope you're going to have an amazing weekend. It's time for SMG Viewers Comments, my weekly show where I answer your comments and questions about recording and music to the absolute best of my abilities. Got something you want to know about recording? Leave a question below. I'll be more than happy to answer it. Anyway, let's get right to it.
Hey Glenn, what's your go-to mic? I know that's a pretty general question as an audio engineer in training. I know it's not too easy to say, but when it comes to mine, when do you need a mic? What will get the job, no matter what it may be?
Well, I can't just narrow it down to any one mic. I think that's just a little bit too much wishful thinking. When it comes to dynamics, the SM57, you can't go wrong. There are definitely better mics for different applications. I mean, like, a 57 is going to work pretty well on pretty much everything. I mean, like, it's not the ideal tom mic, but it'll get the job done. It's also great on guitars. You can use it on wind instruments even. There's all kinds of spots you can use an SM57. When it comes to condensers, gotta go with the Roswell Delphos. That thing just sounds great in front of just about everything. It's great on guitar amps, it's great on acoustics, it's great as a drum room mic, overheads, you fucking name it. It gets the job done and it gets it done well, and although it's not the cheapest mic I own, it definitely won't break the bank. Definitely check out the Roswell mics. They're absolutely freaking amazing.
What's a simple mod you can do to a guitar to make it sound better, i.e. changing pickups? Vita la chingata, Glenn.
All right, now I don't speak a word of Spanish other than El Baño, so I'm going to take a wild guess that might not have been the nicest thing that's ever been said on this show. Anyway, simple mod you can do to your guitar. Here's one that you can do for next to nothing. Is just put a little bit of foam past the nut here under the strings to keep them from ringing out. You can also put a little foam past your bridge here, and it just kind of mutes some of the extra noise. If you're playing very high gain and you're playing staccato with a lot of rests, it'll just make your guitar sound tighter. Another great thing you can do to make your guitar sound better is just put new strings on. Another reasonably inexpensive fix for poor guitar tone is a good low impedance cable. I've had this cable from George L's for about 10 years, and I record all my guitars through it. It really gets the job done, lets the sound of the guitar get from the guitar to the amp with minimum fuckery. So definitely check that out as well.
Glenn, what do you think of a chain using guitar, interface, amp, and cab emulation DI house PA for live sets?
I'd say look up what a DI does, because a DI is a direct input, not an output. So what I'd say is, yes, you can go to a laptop, run your amp sim or whatnot. You're going to want to take an audio out from whatever sound interface you're using and then go to the PA. As long as the sound guy at the club does a competent monitor mix, it shouldn't be a problem. But that is a gigantic, I mean Mount Everest-sized if. Now, my very good friend Jamie Hush, who's now playing bass in Virtue with Trey Xavier, when he was in Windsor, he brought in the first Axe effects I ever saw. And I remember going to see him live a few times, and the first half hour of every show that his band ever played was him on his knees with his ass facing the audience trying to explain to this sound guy how to hook the fucking thing up. And half the time he wouldn't be able to hear himself from stage because the sound guys just didn't know how to do fucking monitor mixes, especially for that kind of thing. I understand, the desire to have the smallest rig possible to bring to gigs. Believe me, I get that. I don't want to carry a lot of shit with me either. But I do think bringing something to a show like a Harley Benton vertical 2x12, which isn't very expensive, isn't very heavy, and sounds fucking amazing, I think that's a really good idea, running into an amp and that kind of thing. If you're trusting your band sound and your guitar sound to the house sound guy and you haven't paid him, you are taking chances, my friend. And chances are it's not going to turn out the way you're hoping.
Hey Glenn, what would your personal backstage rider be in terms of food if you're a famous touring musician?
Oh, I don't know. I'm pretty easy to please, to be honest with you. I'm not going to go all rock star on this because I don't think that's cool. I will say this. I was granted backstage access to the first day of Heavy Montreal. And I will say this, the staff that was making food for the bands there was outstanding. I got a chance to meet a bunch of them. A bunch of those guys watched this show. I just want to say, hey, thanks guys. Thanks for saying hi. I really appreciate that. The barbecue back there was fucking amazing. Those guys just knocked it out of the park. There was a guy doing lasagna and that kind of stuff. That was fucking phenomenal as well. Super impressed with the catering done at Heavy Montreal. Hey, if that's what it's like, I certainly wouldn't need any special treatment. That being said, when bands did outrageous things like Van Halen, no brown M&Ms, that kind of thing, I guess the logic behind that was to make sure that the rider was actually being read and taken seriously for more important things, like so the lighting rig wouldn't fall on people and kill them. So in the long run, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, once again, cheers to the catering staff at Heavy Montreal. You guys were fucking amazing. Nice job, guys. Hey everybody, this episode of SMG Viewers Comments is sponsored by me. This is the brand new SMG CockBlocker Gate. It's available for pre-order now. It is the greatest guitar gate pedal you've ever played in your life. It's a sidechain gate, meaning you got your input and output at the side. That goes to your guitar amp, but you got the I/O here as well. That goes to your effects loop. So when you stop playing, it shuts the amp down as well, so you don't hear any of that hiss or anything. So when you stop, it really stops. This thing is super cool. I've got the prototype here, but we are taking pre-orders. It's going to be a 90-day campaign, so follow the link in the description below. Get your pre-order in. It retails for $199 US plus $20 shipping anywhere in the world. Like I said, it is simply the most awesome gate pedal I've ever played in my entire life. And we've also got a demo to it. Jen Majera from Evanescence was cool enough to check it out with me. And I'm going to have a link to that video in the description below. If you play metal, you play live, and you want to get your guitar sound under control, check out the CockBlocker Gate. It brings a smile to the face. It's got an absolutely incredible graphic and is seriously the best sounding gate pedal I have ever heard in my entire life. Check it out. Links in the description below. And now it's time for
the butthurt of the week. I understand that there are problems that can just be shitty. You complain about almost the whole video. How about spending just as much time telling how good it is instead of complaining? Sounds to me like you don't like your job. There are some producers that work for Metallica and other amazing bands that have the time of their life.
Once, many years ago, I thought like you too. I thought, hey, this job's going to be fun. This job's going to be amazing. And then the reality sets in that guess what? It's not a fun job and it's a lot of work. And most of the time you should be spending getting amazing performances out of amazing musicians. You're going to spend that teaching the musician how to play their instrument. That is what 75% of this job is. It isn't about recording. It's about getting the musician to make a passable performance. That's the job. That's what they don't tell you at recording school. And I've been doing it for 21 years. So you know what? I think I've earned the fucking right to complain about it once in a while. And yes, every now and then you do get a band that comes in that is brilliant and makes the job a lot of fun. And that reminds you of why you got into doing it. I remember one of the best experiences I ever had. I did an album in 4 days with a band called Black Creek. And they were fucking stellar. They came in and just rocked the place, and we had such an amazing time. And I'm so glad I got to do that record because it really makes up for the shit you have to deal with 99% of the rest of the time.
Which of the following would you choose if money was an issue? Guitar Rig 5, Bias Effects, Bias Amp, Waves GTR3, and Helix Native. I would be using the software mainly for practice.
I'd go with Helix Native, hands down. I mean, like the other ones are pretty good. Helix Native is really damn impressive, and it's wound up on 2 of my favorite recordings that were submitted by viewers so far this year. Super impressed with what the Helix Native can do. It's definitely worth spending the cash, in my opinion.
Not cool for laughing at people that work for less than $3K base and $400 pedal a year. We can't all come to Canada or USA and work for our worth or what we perceive ourselves to be worthy.
And you guys were definitely not the target of that joke. That joke was aimed at people who want that kind of stuff but aren't willing to work for it. Now, if you're in a different country with a crap economy and a crap government, that's a little bit different. And you know what? My heart goes out to you guys, and I salute you guys for making music any way you can to the best of your abilities. That is just truly fucking awesome. Look, I get it. Not a lot of fucking gear is super affordable in those places. And even if I were to do a giveaway and send you guys something, it'd probably get taxed to death at the border and you wouldn't be able to afford it either. I think that's a shit situation. I really don't think you're going to get any kind of change in that until you have a change in government. Unfortunately, that's not up to me. That's going to be up to you and the people you live in the country with. There's only so much I can do with a YouTube show, of course. But please keep making music by any means possible. I think you guys are fucking awesome.
Hey Glenn, I heard you talking about Marshall Code or Spider 5 and you said they have a shitty sound. Not saying they don't, but can you explain what the features or parameters of a good guitar sound? Thanks from the Czech Republic and F you Glenn.
Ah, the Czech Republic. Fucking right. That's awesome. My favorite guitar cabinet brand is from their Coffee Custom Cabs. I have one of theirs and it's just absolutely fucking brilliant. Anyway, what goes into making a great guitar sound? Dude, just put on some great records. That's all you got to do. Or, you can look around for some of those Guitar Hero files that I'm not telling you to actually download any of those, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. But some of those have the guitar tracks soloed up and you can listen to what goes into a great guitar sound and then take a listen to the Spider and compare them and decide for yourself what's great and what's not great. Now look, I can talk till I'm blue in the face about what makes a great guitar sound and what doesn't, but I think the best impact will be if you can get your hands on some tracks from said bands and then listen to what a Spider does and make up your own mind.
It took some time, but you sure improved the sound of the mix. The way you got that nasty ring out of the tone was impressive, and I love the bass tone, not scooped to shit and overly distorted, as I love Dark Class B7K a lot. Great bottom end and tone.
You're referring to the live mix redemption I did there a couple weekends ago. I did a two-parter. I did one on the Saturday night and then first thing Sunday morning. That was a lot of work. That was the song Scourge the Earth. Those episodes are still up online. If you want to see me go through that mix step by step and see just how difficult it was to get the ring out of that snare, and the fact that I had to sleep on it and came back the next day with some fresh ideas, that helped an awful lot. But seriously, thanks for watching and thanks for the compliments. I really do appreciate it. Guys, yes, if you want to see my live events, you got to hit the notification bell so you can see when those go up. I do Merciless Metal mix reviews, and now I'm doing mix redemptions, and that's where viewers submit their tracks for me to remix live. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool. And we can all definitely learn a few things. A few of you guys were making suggestions for certain tracks that I tried out, and you know what? It worked out absolutely amazing. Definitely worth watching. Thanks again for checking it out, and please subscribe and hit the notification bell.
Fantastic laptop for about the same price as a MacBook Pro, but the specs kick the shit out of the MacBook Pro.
Of course, you're referencing the awesome laptop I got from Slick Audio with the OLED screen that hasn't burned in yet, no matter how many horror stories people are telling me, oh, burn in. No, it hasn't happened yet. So far, so good. This thing has been absolutely amazing. And yes, it will kick the living snot out of a MacBook Pro in terms of hardware. I haven't put a Hackintosh OS on it yet. We are going to try that because we put an extra drive in. But yeah, so far, so good. Now, for those of you guys who are asking, I talked to Jim Slick about the assembly process on this, and he was telling me he orders the shell and the motherboard from a third party, and then he does the final assembly in the US, puts in the hard drives, tweaks the OS, and all that kind of thing. It's not unlike a lot of microphones we get these days, like say the Roswells or whatnot, where the capsules and the shells are made in China, and then the quality control is done in the US. There are some competing brands that work with this same type of laptop. I think Falcon Northwest is one of them as well, but I was so impressed with the desktop PC we got from Slick Audio that I bought one of the laptops from them because it was just absolutely freaking amazing. And so far, this thing has been stellar.
Hey Glenn, so no time aligning drums, but do you have the drummer play to a click track?
Depends on the band. If they're playing tech metal, yes, I will have the band and the drummer play to a click. It just kind of makes sense. But if they're playing like groovy stoner rock, maybe not so much. You know what? Maybe a little swing might be a good thing. You know, just get the musicians in the room and have them play off each other. We used to call that rock and roll. You should try it sometime. It's fun.
Could you make a video about ways to get a good modern metal tone mesa angle without busting the bank? It's really difficult, at least for me, to find some comparable sounding equipment under $1,000.
You know, I did a video like that last year. It was a Fearless gear review on the Bugera 333 XL. I think that amp cost me like $400 Canadian or something like that. And it's basically a clone of the PVJSX. It's a fucking phenomenal sounding amp. Go check out the used market. That's probably what your best bet is going to be. But can I make a specific video about that? You know what? I think I will. I think that's a great suggestion. So yeah, I'll put that on the pile. Keep your eyes peeled for that.
Have you ever tried an Android DAW? Shall I skip it or give it a shot?
Well, the whole problem with Android is latency, and it's something that hasn't got better as far as I know. That's why I kind of went with macOS, especially for an iPad or that kind of thing. The guys at RME were showing me how they were recording guitars through an amp sim off an iPad and a babyface interface, and it was in real time, and the latency was completely negligible. It was just fucking amazing. So I really got to do a video on that at some point, but so far what I've seen, yeah, Android is just too fucking slow to do audio correctly. Maybe they've improved. If somebody out there is recording with an Android DAW, hey, let me know. But as far as I know from the information I have, it's definitely filed under avoid like the plague.
I bought a 100-watt Blue Voodoo half-stack new back in the 90s and played hundreds of gigs with it. I took off the crate emblem and would get loads of compliments on the sound. I only used the clean channel with drive from pedals. Dudes were always completely taken aback to find out it was a crate, as it sounded super good and looked fantastic on a darkened stage with all the tubes hot and lit up. I miss that amp.
You know, I think Les Paul said it first, is that people listen with their eyes. And, you know, I've seen that happen a number of times. I've heard some great things about the crate Blue Voodoo, but yeah, there's always that, oh, it's a crate, it's got to be shit kind of mentality. And I find that happens with music gear a lot. Another great example would be, you know, the Vox new tube. I mean, like, a lot of guys were super impressed with those, even though they're using like a new type of solid state tube thing. It's really weird. Amp with a very similar design would be, you know, the Joyo Zombie. But because it's a Chinese brand with a Chinese sounding name, it's apparently shit, even though it sounds fucking amazing. So there you go. The trick is, yeah, listen with your ears. It just usually works out a whole lot better. And here's a comment on that whole installing that massive audio console video we did a few weeks back. This one's really interesting.
When you purchase something like this, you better want to make sure you have access to everything you need to unload it, move it inside, and install it. Forklifts aren't that rare or expensive to rent, and you also want to have plans for the premises where you make sure that the beast fits inside through the doors, etc. But you guys got it done. It's fine, I guess.
Well, here's something about that. I had no idea the size of the package that was coming until maybe about an hour and a half before it actually showed up. No idea whatsoever. We got a call from the trucking company telling us what size it was. And here's the thing. I got a phone call the night before. Hey, Glenn, guess what? You know that console that's supposed to be coming in another month? Yeah, it's coming tomorrow. You're going to have to figure this out. I didn't know how big it was. I didn't know how much it weighed. I didn't know how many people we were going to need. I didn't know we were going to need help to get it off the truck. So yes, it's great to sit there. Oh, you should have had a forklift. You should have had this. You should have had that. I had no fucking idea what I was dealing with. That's what life is most of the time, though. It dumps something in your lap and you deal with it the best you can. So I would just like to say right here, right now, thanks to everybody who helped out with that install, because that was a very stressful day. So many thanks to Alex Nazlet, Trey Xavier, Zach Ducido, Matt Emonson, the Russian movers, the guys on the trucks who initially dropped it off. Everybody there was brilliant. Thank you so much for making that get into the studio in one piece. I don't know how the fuck we pulled it off, but somehow it happened. I am in your debt. Thank you oh so much. I am ever so grateful. That being said, I never ever want to do that ever again. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please hit that notification bell. That way you'll get notified when I do those awesome live events. And don't forget, make your pre-order for the SMG CockBlocker Gate. It's going to be available for 90 days and 90 days only. Once it's gone, that is it. Get it while you can. It's only $199 and it's only $20 shipped anywhere in the world. It's definitely freaking amazing. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week.